So today we have our National Security Advisor, Sri Ajit Doval with us. And today we will discuss with him about art of decision making. Ajit sir, welcome to our show. So when we announced that you will be joining us for India First Leadership Talk Series, uh, there was huge enthusiasm within students. And within 2 or 3 days, we got about 600 to 700 questions. Then subsequently, we had to cancel the show because some unfortunate incidents happened. And then we are now, until now, we have received about 950 questions from students. When we scanned those questions, a lot of those questions were dealing with India's very sensitive security kind of inquiries, or they were keen on knowing about it. So we couldn't take many of those questions, but still we have tried to compile some of them, and you can answer based on your ease of dealing with some of these things. So the first question, sir, is a very, very interesting question. And it actually is about the air strikes or surgical strikes which were done before. So the students are very, very keen on knowing that you might be there in the war room while monitoring the entire situation, minute by minute maybe. So what was going in your mind, and whether at any point of time you had the fear of actually, or have a feeling, I had a feeling that the decision may go wrong, or or you have taken the wrong decision. So, sir, what was your psyche at that moment?
Well, I can't go into the specifics of many operations or this particular operation, but I'll tell you one thing. We are all human beings, and human brain, human psyche, human this thing operates almost similarly. The difference is how do you respond to it.
Very true.
See, it's just like the rainfall. It falls on all of us evenly. But with some people can catch cold, some people are better clad, some people have got the raincoat, some people have this thing. So the important thing is, whenever you take major decisions, whenever you take vital decisions, there is always a sense of anxiety, uncertainty, because you are not a crystal gazer, you cannot tell the future. And you get to know whether the decision was right or wrong only after the event is over. So the die has been cast. But more important thing is, how do you cope with that? How do you plan for that? Now, the way I can tell you is this, that is, if I take a decision, I work out a worst case scenario. I will say, if everything goes wrong, what will happen? And then you find that, okay, if everything goes wrong, what can happen is affordable. You may get a little bad press, you may get some bad media, but nation won't suffer. Maybe sometimes we may lose some lives, it doesn't matter. But we can manage with that. The country can bear that shock. After having worked out the worst case scenario, you try to improve on that. That is, how do I see, that is, if I buy a lottery ticket, or if I say that if I'm going to do a job, it's going to cost me 500 rupees if it is wrong. But I say, how can I reduce the cost? So you start making preparations to make it more affordable till you bring it to the point where you think that the risk is worth taking, which requires time, which requires preparation, which at times in our job requires technology, superior intelligence, and all these things. So the point I was trying to make is that to deal with fear, articulate that fear in specific words, and you will find the fear is not very big. It is not as big as you are really worried about. It is much less than that. Not only that, you can further reduce it by through a preparations, through a better knowledge, through a better understanding, and through hard work. Then the another important thing is that for vital decisions, you must have a contingency plan. That is the fallback position. If things, whatever you do, a situation gets changed. Now, that situation is a new situation that you have to cope with. And if you have got to cope with that situation, that is what we say is the new contingency. It can be favorable, it can be unfavorable. Say you are talking about this operation of Balakot. Now, thereafter, the media is this thing. Well, this is a new situation. It's a favorable situation, but still a new situation. So you plan with it. That how will you do the perception management, or how will you, or then there will be an international decision. So you will work out. That is what will be your contingency plans after the news. The old one is over, favorable or unfavorable. A new situation will emerge, and then you have got to deal with that. So I think thereafter the fear level becomes very low. You know that when you have cattle for it. You know that you are prepared for it. You know that you have got the requisite talent, knowledge, resources, and everything has been lined up. Come what may, and we will deal with it.
Sir, the fear can be handled, as you rightly said, through right kind of mental preparation and training. But sometimes, while decision making, you hardly have few choices. And then you have to really take tough decisions. How, and when it comes to national security, and if you have to take a tough decision, then it has a long-term repercussions. It may have generations may get affected. So when you are taking a tough decision, what considerations you actually give? It is a bit different than fear of taking decision.
Well, first let us understand that we all take hundreds of decisions every day. Whether what to dress or what to eat or where to sit or you buy this thing. What exactly makes a decision tough? What are the tough decisions? Tough decisions are where the consequences are going to affect a large number of people for a long period of time. The risks are high because some of those wrong decisions may change the course of history. Like say, when India got its independence and the merger of the states was going, a decision was taken, that is, let us go to the United Nations, because from the Pakistani side, the masqueraders have come with arms and others. Rather than taking them headlong strongly, we thought that let us go to the United Nations, and thereafter we got into a situation where it became internationalized and we could not, the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, liberate it. So that was a decision that has got a long-term consequences. Even till today, all the problems of Kashmir are because of that. Otherwise, 535 states had been merged with India. So it was also one of the other princely states which had merged with India. But since we had taken the decision to go to the United Nations, and thereby we found it difficult that the UN position was not something which was in consonance with our national interest. So how do you take the tough decisions? The first thing is that you must have clarity of objectives. Take out all adjectives, all adverbs. It should be only the nouns and the verbs. Make it as small and as simple as possible. Don't say we are going to fight terrorism. That is not the objective. In this particular case, say that we are going to neutralize on such and such date, such and such person, or such and such module, or such as this thing like that. That is a specific course of action about which you have got a clarity. And when that happens, this is the next thing that I have got to do. So your objectives must be very well defined. We normally, particularly the Indian mind, gets bogged down with a lot of philosophies, thinkings, thoughts, worries, anxieties and others, but on the focused, it is not very clear about its objectives. After that, you must do an objective analysis of your strengths, of your circumstances, of your limitations, of the resources available, of the possibilities that can happen. Now, when I say objective, it is very, very important. And that makes, say, in my case, I never take a decision. I ask myself some questions. Am I angry? If I am angry, I never take a decision. Because normally, you are not taking an objective decision. Your objectivity suffers when you are angry. Am I afraid? If I am afraid, my decisions are not objective. The security of my life becomes more important for me. So my decision will be affected that after this, whether I will come alive or I will be dead. So I will say, okay, I will wait for another day. I will take a decision tomorrow. When I have sublimated myself, that no, it doesn't matter. If I die, I die. I am prepared for that. I have made arrangements for anything that I care for or anything that is my responsibility. Whether you are upset, whether you feel that your personal interests are at stake, that you may lose the job or you may lose the there are a lot of anxieties that the people can have. Don't take a decision. Let it stabilize. You must take a decision to be objective in a completely calm state of mind, in a completely composed state of mind, in a completely neutral state of mind. Then, after you have got the objectives defined, see what are the different options by which you can achieve those objectives. Tough decisions do not leave many options, but still there are options. And your experience, your knowledge makes those options, create those operations or those options. So you say that, okay, I have to go from here to Connaught Place. How do you select the best option? Each option has got a cost. Each option has got a time. Each option has got the opportunities in which it can be done. What suits you best? That is the best option, which is most cost effective and sure to get your objective. Now, who are the people normally do not take wrong decisions? They adopt a wrong option, which they say that our decision was wrong. It was not the decision that was wrong. It was the option that you adopted for that was wrong. And why did you adopt the wrong option? Because you had not researched it. Your knowledge, your database, your experience, your communication with the people that you did this thing, you had not done that well. And therefore, you select an option that is, I decide to go to Connaught Place via Chandni Chowk. And then I say, well, it has taken me 2 hours. It is not that going to Connaught Place was bad. It is that you decided to go the wrong way. How do you correct the wrong way? When you see the map, when you know every street and every turn into the map, and then you will reach in the fastest possible way using the minimum amount of petrol and the time. So work out your options and prepare for it. After you have selected the option, then start preparing for it. And that is the most important thing. And I want to emphasize on this, that this is very, very important that you have to give your best. Your decisions are not right or wrong. What happens is this, that you take a decision, but then you don't work towards it, to fructify it with a total commitment, with total, give your best in every way. You know, in life, it is important to make right decisions. But there's something which is still more important. That is to make the decisions right. Once you have taken the decision, it's a right, you are all young people and tomorrow you may like to select a spouse for you, a life partner for yourself. You'll all be thinking that probably the secret lies in selecting the right partner. Probably yes. But more of it lies whether you can make that marriage right.
Very true.
So, taking the right decision is less important than making the decision right. After you have taken a decision, then it is your bravery, it is your commitment, it is your foresightedness, it is your sense of tolerance, your ability to take this thing, that you make the decision right. Since you have taken it and you have got a responsibility, ठीक है, गलत डिसीजन अगर हो भी गया, थोड़ा सा गलती भी है, in spite of that, you try to make it right. And so concentrate more on action than keep on changing your decisions. If you have taken a decision, go ahead with it.